Welcome to our episode 5 with Ted Simons. This is an unnamed show, sponsored by Ticket Time Machine. Still working on a name, still working on the lighting in my new office. So I apologize I'm not this tan, it's just the lighting. And today we welcome Ted Simons, founder of Synergy Consulting. And we're going to talk a lot of golf today. He's heavily involved in the golf world. And Ted, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Matt. Appreciate you having me.
So we're obviously going to talk a little bit of golf. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got into golf and how golf became, I guess, a huge part of your life?
Well, I've always been involved in sports and started making a career out of sports and sports marketing. One of my clients was in the fitness industry, so I spent a lot of time there. I got introduced to a golf instructor down here in Scottsdale, and we decided to put together a video DVD series for him. And shortly after we produced that, by the way, it's Mike Malaska, who was a PGA National Teacher of the Year a few years ago. But we produced that, and then at the time, the Nicholas Flick golf schools were kind of disbanding, and Jack was looking to get out of the golf school academy business. And so a gentleman who worked for Jack in the design world said, I'll take it over. And that turned into introductions. I started spending more and more time working with Nicholas Academy clients, potential clients, and eventually they got tired of my consultant fees. And I became a partner and kind of grew from there. So I spent 18 years developing academies for Jack Nicklaus around the world.
In Orlando?
What's that?
You're one in Orlando?
There was, yes. Yep. We had one in Orlando for 3 years, but we were in 14 countries, 28 different locations. It was a great experience. Got to travel the world, got to meet tremendous great people that are out there. Got to grow the game of golf under Jack Nicklaus's brand, which is a big part of his legacy. So that was fun. And then, when transitioning out of that, one of my former academy directors, when we had one in Las Vegas, he reached out to me and told me about his vision of Patriot Golf Schools. So he came up with Patriot Golf Schools when he was at the Patriot Cup, and listened to Lieutenant Colonel Dan Rooney from Folds of Honor do his speech about where Folds came from. And he said, well, if you got Folds of Honor, you've got tournaments, you're heavily involved in golf, we need to have a Patriot Golf School. So I said, okay, I'm available. And we turned that into a 501c3 foundation. And we were just starting to get rolling when this little COVID thing hit.
So tell us a little bit more about the Patriot Golf Foundation. What is your goal moving forward, and how can people help or get involved with it?
Yeah, so our premise, our mission is to provide resources and also access to the game of golf for military veterans and their families. So when we host a Patriot Golf School, we have X number of sponsors, and then we invite veterans to come and participate at no charge to the veteran. So they're for the entire day, one-day school, from breakfast to instruction to lunch to 9 holes on the golf course to a reception. They're part of that entire learning experience, but also they get to spend an entire day with what we believe are mentors. So the sponsors, the introductions, the network that then these veterans can get by attending a golf school. Plus, one of the big things that comes out of every one that we've done is the camaraderie that the veterans feel, because now they're meeting 6 or 8 other veterans, fellow service members that they've never met before, and they get to share their experiences. And regardless of their age or which service they were in, they all still have a common bond. And it's just, it's very heartwarming to see the effect that we have on these men and women's lives that have basically sacrificed for us. And so, that's it. So we partner with other foundations that have a similar mission. So whether it's Folds of Honor or a new one, John Daly, Major Ed, Heart of a Lion Foundation, Uncommon Grit, Tee It Up for All, we'll participate and share our resources with them, as long as they're going out to military families, as well as in some cases first responders. The K-9 programs. So we'll do it on a national level, but we'll also do it locally, so we keep the funds generated in that local marketplace.
Yeah, so that was the next question. Was it's based in Arizona?
Yeah, I'm based in Arizona. I've got a national staff of 25 instructors from coast to coast, north and south. So very quickly we can deploy and put together golf schools across the country. We're based here in Scottsdale, so that's where the foundation is.
Right. The plan is to have a school that is, and when you say school, it could just be, it's really more of an event, right?
Correct.
We're going to have this school here, and then every month we'll bring in a different crew. We're going to try and have this event for the Patriot Golf Foundation in different cities across the U.S. and then possibly all over the world.
Well, primarily it's because it's Patriots, primarily in the U.S. However, we've actually just started looking into rolling some of these out in the Asia Pacific market, because we have so many bases out there, so many installations. So before we got put on pause, as I call it, we hosted one in Southern California. We hosted one here in Arizona. We canceled the one in Orlando. And then we also had a big one with Folds of Honor in Oklahoma in April that we had to put on hold. So we'll do it in different markets, in some cases based on weather, also based on where we can get the right support with sponsors, with clubs. We'll take the show anywhere we can go.
But do you have some top targets of cities and areas that you'd like to have this go down in?
No, everything is wide open. We'll do 1, 2, and 3 day schools. We can have as few as 12 participants or as many as 24. So that's kind of part of our challenge right now is golf instruction is very much a hands-on experience. And with social distancing and with the rate of infection right now with COVID, it makes it difficult to be responsible and put these golf schools together. But ideally, we've got 24-person golf schools, which would be 18 sponsors and 6 veterans, and again, and 6 instructors. So it's a 4-to-1 ratio, and they spend the entire day enjoying themselves, being entertained, and also getting better at the game of golf.
Yeah, these 6 veterans and the participants, they're going to most likely be from that area, or do you envision bringing people in from other areas, depending on where this is and who's applying?
No, they'll be, ideally they're local. We've got a relationship with an organization called vettix.org.
Yeah.
They're based here in Arizona, and they provide tickets to their members to everything from Super Bowls to World Series to concerts to symphonies, and they were very interested and excited when I approached them with the Patriot Golf School concept, because it's an experience. So when we hosted the one here at Camelback Golf Club in Scottsdale, Vettix sent out the notice to their 50,000 members in Arizona that this was going to happen. They then submit their request to be chosen, if you will. It's almost like a lottery. And so the 6 veterans that get picked are committed. They have to pay a $14.95 service charge. So they've got a little skin in the game. But you're getting veterans that are truly interested and excited to come participate in golf school.
Yeah, that's a hell of a lottery. I mean, you get six winners, and especially if you're in a larger city. Is it a lottery? It's just pick a name out of a hat? Is there certain criteria that may make someone have a better chance of getting it?
Yeah, that I don't understand. That's a VetTix deal. But it allows us twofold. One, it's a great, obviously, exposure mechanism for the Patriot Golf Foundation. They've got, I believe it's 3.2 million members across the country. So, I mean, it's a huge organization that we can get exposure to. But again, it allows the truly interested veterans to apply to get to come and have this, what we call an experience. So it's a fantastic opportunity for the veterans. It works out for VetTix model because it's something different than what they have as a normal ticket. And obviously it works out well for us.
How good are these veterans at golf that you've seen? Are they good, or do they play at all? Is it a mix?
We get the entire gamut.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of our instruction staff is to do golf schools is different than one-on-one lessons. It's almost an art form how you go from a never ever beginner to a pretty good player and keep them equally engaged in a group setting. But yeah, the one we had at Camelback, we had everything from a left-handed Vietnam vet to recently discharged 27-year-old.
Yeah.
In between, we had a veteran who's now, I think, in the finance world. It was a pretty good stick. So we get all flavors, all varieties, all ages, all ability levels, and that's also part of the fun that our staff has, is really getting the enjoyment of the game of golf instilled into these veterans and how it can change their lives.
Yeah, golf it's an interesting game because I don't play a whole lot. I play a couple times a year, and I would say I'm good for someone who plays as little as I do. My mom, who was never really an athlete at all, took up golf 10 years ago. And last year we were at a golf range and she was hitting balls, and I mean, she was doing fairly well. And so, you go out on a course and you figure out if I hit one good shot today, it's a great day on the golf course, right? If I hit a birdie or I hit some kind of drive, and you could have people who come up who've never played it, and they're a lot better than you would expect someone who's never done anything. But to truly master the game of golf, you got to play it every day, every other day, right? And you got to just keep playing and playing. And even then, it's not an easy thing to do, as you can see from watching the tour and all of that. Are there any other types of programs for veterans out there that are similar? I mean, how'd you get the idea that veterans would like to play golf? Did you piggyback?
Actually, there's quite a few programs out there for veterans in the game of golf. The reason it's popular is we call it the healing power of golf, but it allows our service members that maybe have PTSD circumstances, mental, physical, social. It allows them to get out and, to a certain point, get out of their own head. When you're out hitting golf balls for an hour, or in some cases playing a round of golf for 4 or 5 hours, that's what you're focused on. Yeah. You're not focused on all the other things that may be interrupting your mind. So golf and the veteran experience have been tied together for quite some time. So you've got a number of tournament series that are out there for veterans. Fairways for Warriors, which is based out of Orlando. They do a nice program there. PGA Hope is a new program, about 3 years old, that veterans can go to a PGA Hope instructor and basically it's subsidized, so the veterans can get instruction from PGA professionals. So there's a lot of different avenues. We were the first ones, and so far the only ones that really came up with the golf school concept and how we tie that into the veterans.
Yeah, golf is also, it's good because you're playing against yourself. You don't have to worry about anyone else. And so, when you start putting people together to play sports, whether it's basketball and football, baseball, and you got other people involved, there's always stuff that can go wrong. This is just you on the course and, doing your thing. So I think that's another good thing that is going to be helpful for the veterans. How many events can you do in a year? If you're operating one a week, are you looking to do one a week? What's your schedule going to look like?
Yeah, no, projection was to do about 24 events a year.
Okay.
So basically averaging 2 a month. And again, those can average, those could be 1-day schools. They could be 3-day schools. Each of them are kind of a one-off because, you've got different course fees. We pay the golf courses for their green fees. We pay food and beverage. We pay, if they're going to charge us for the range, golf carts to go on the golf course. And then based on, the instructors in the market and those we need to bring from out of the market. So each location, each event becomes its own project, and the budget is accordingly. So once we put together a date, then we put together the budget based on what our hard costs are going to be, and build a sponsorship package based upon that, and go out to either the clubs, the community, the businesses in the area to get the event sponsored, and then start putting everything finally together. So
how long do you need for that process?
What's that?
How long do you usually need for that process?
If we just because of availability and from a marketing standpoint, probably 2 months.
Okay.
Is a minimum to get one of these organized. Certainly, if we got a call from, say, a specific country, golf club, said, we heard about what you're doing, we'd love to do it. Our members are going to support this thing, so could we do one in 2 weeks? That becomes pretty easy because now you've already got it sponsored. You've got the golf course. Now I just need to round up 6 instructors, and getting 6 vets to come out would not be a problem.
Right. So you're picking a date in a location, and then the process comes to figure out where we're going to play and who's going to sponsor it.
Correct.
Okay. And are there similar golf courses like that that you're just going to have partnerships that eventually we're going to do, even if you don't have a date? You've talked to them about it and say we're eventually going to do this, or you kind of just, I'm in an area, let's talk to the golf courses that are around there?
We identify a lot through our staff of instructors.
Okay.
Because if whether they're based in Arizona or Florida or New Jersey or California or Oregon, they've got certain relationships and experience with different golf clubs there. And even though they may be teaching at a specific golf course, they know that the club over here have a lot of patriots, a lot of deep-pocketed individuals there that may be more inclined to get behind it, an initiative like this. So, we really use our network instead of identifying, okay, we want to go to Missouri, where, kind of thing.
And the people who are sponsoring this, has it been mostly interest from members of a club? Is it local companies, brands? What have you found has been most successful so far?
Combination of the two. Getting the interest of the club members, if you will. Even at a public or a resort course. That's one way. Ideally, we're reaching out to the business community of the market we're going into. Because instead of, say, getting 18 individual player sponsor commitments, if we can go out to a beverage company or a rental car company or a hospitality company, and they would underwrite, the 24-person golf school. Now they can use those 18 spots for employees, for clients, for suppliers, any number of ways to benefit them, and their check is going to a 501c3.
So what's an average cost, just so people might have an idea of what one person or a whole school would be?
Probably a 1-day mid-market is probably going to be around $750 a person, which pays for, part of that tuition pays for the veteran.
Right.
Okay, our hard costs for the veteran.
That pays for their person to play for golf and food and all of that too.
Correct. And then, if you do a 3-day high-end where we're bringing in, what we call the double A team of our staff, which has higher day rates, transportation costs, all those good things. Now we can be upwards of $3,000 to $4,000 to $5,000 for a 3-day school. But again, that's a full experience for 3 days, dinners, receptions, the whole 9 yards. Really nice gift bag. So again, we sell an experience. Golf instruction is just part of it. And
the golf courses, you have your eyes on any famous courses or well-known courses, or is it going to be mostly club and resort courses? What's the plan for that?
Some of our staff are at well-known golf courses.
Okay.
Sometimes getting access the way that we like it is a bit of a challenge, because if we've got 24 players and 6 instructors, we're in many cases going to take over a good portion of their lesson tee, which some of the members may not appreciate. The short game area, we're going to take over parts of that. And then when we play 9 holes in the afternoon, that's kind of a slow 9 holes, because we'll have a threesome plus an instructor, and we'll talk about shots. They're just not playing 9 holes. They'll talk about where you hit it, why you hit it there, what to do better the next time, or drop a ball and hit it again. So again, we have to find cooperative facilities that will embrace what we're doing and why we're doing it.
Yeah, I feel like if you give enough notice and you say this is what we're pausing for, like a good cause, that the members should be fine with it. But I've never been a part of a country club, but I've been around. I understand that, like everything else, they have some people who are going to want to complain about anything. They expect to have their golf when they want it, and but it's I think it's a great concept. It sounds like you got some really good stuff behind it. Just personally speaking, where have you played golf that has been most memorable, or the coolest or hardest or most famous course for you? Where have you played? What stands out for you?
It kind of just depends on where I was at a particular time. The first time I played golf in China, where you have to have a caddy, and they're young ladies between 18 and 24, and they got their hats on, and they are there just to take care of you in the game of golf. They try and tell you what club to hit. They line up your putt for you. I mean, the first time they did that, I'm going, what? I mean, I know how to line up my putt. Yeah. And so after a while, you get used to having them very close to you while you're playing. That's just a different experience that here in the States you would never run into.
Yeah, I played one time with a caddy. My now wife, we went on a trip to Jamaica with her family and stayed at Half Moon Resort, and I played golf with her brother-in-law and her father, and they had a caddy, and it was good. I don't know that I'd pay for that to have it, just based on my skill and enjoyment of the game, but it definitely was a different experience I go on sports weekend.
Yeah, speaking of golf in Jamaica, this is before I went to work for Jack. In my video production career, I was doing a project for Yonex Tennis and Pat Cash after Wimbledon holidays in Jamaica. And so first we went to Florida and videoed Monica Seles, which at the time was recovering from being stabbed.
Oh, yeah.
And then we flew down to Jamaica, myself and my videographer, who was also a good golfer. And so we're traveling with all the video gear and 2 sets of golf clubs. So we fly down to Jamaica. We've got our time scheduled with Pat Cash. We also have an extra day, of course, that we go out and play golf course. And so we're out there. It's like it's been like a drought in Jamaica. It hasn't rained for months. The earth is, it's got cracks in the golf course. I mean, it's like, what the hell are we doing here? But travel that far with your golf clubs, you're going to play.
Yeah.
So we've been playing 2 caddies, and they were very local. I'm sure they had some knowledge of the game of golf, but wasn't quite like the caddies you'd get at Pebble Beach. No. So we're out there playing golf, and again, they recommend golf clubs for you. And I say, he goes, but you need to hit a 4 on. I go, no, I'll hit a 6. He goes, come on, it's a 4. So I said, no, I'm hitting a 6. It's my game. I hit a bad shot. He goes, shitty shot, man. Well, there you go. So, needless to say, his tip was probably not the biggest he'd ever had, but he did get compensated for his efforts.
I think you listened to the caddy. That's why they're there, right?
Yeah.
They see you swing a few times, then they have a pretty good idea of what you're doing. I played Stone Mountain in Atlanta. It was a crazy course for me. First hole was off a cliff, and you got to get it to this little area, and I actually hit it pretty well. And then we're driving carts down this steep hill where you're like afraid for your life. That was pretty neat for me. Probably my favorite course I played. I have a twin brother won a trip to Scotland last year, and I was supposed to go, but something happened as it got close, and I couldn't make it. He played on 2 pretty famous courses out there, which must have been awesome. Is there a course in the world that you haven't played that you'd love to visit? You or U.S.?
U.S. obviously, you'd love to go play Augusta.
Yeah.
Just to walk on the hallowed grounds with a golf club, I think would be an experience you'd never ever forget. There's so many great golf courses in the country.
Yeah. A lot. I have a friend who rates them for a magazine, and he's all excited about playing all these new courses. A ton, always a new course, ton of them for him. Did you ever play with Jack when you were working there?
No. I attended some events where Jack played.
Yeah.
But no, never played with Jack.
And do you have any visions of having professional golfers join these schools and days? Not, obviously you have the teachers, the golf pros, but someone top 10, top 20 on the PGA join.
We haven't quite gone there. We've reached out to a couple of PGA touring pros that do have some veteran affiliations to see if we can get kind of their involvement and support. With this relationship we have with John Daly and Major Ed, we'll do some clinics at some of their tournaments and events with John. Here in Scottsdale, Tom Lehman is a very big supporter of Folds of Honor, and knows Seth Glasgow, my partner in the foundation, very well. And so, if we do an event here in Thompson Town, there's a good opportunity to get Tom out there to lend some support. But those guys' schedules are crazy, and even just this week I read an article about Ricky Fowler, and his results aren't quite matching up with what his expectations are, but he's got like 8 or 10 corporate sponsors now that all require X number of days per year, and pretty soon that starts to take away from practice time and other things that would prepare you for a tournament. So again, trying to go in and say, hey, Dustin Johnson, can we have a half day of your time to come out to a golf school? Probably have to, timing would have to be very right.
Yeah, it's the business of sports. I mean, you can win a lot of money playing golf, but they're all making more money with their sponsors and all doing commercials and whoever they're aligning themselves with. Even if you look at Tiger and all that, he won a ton of money, but he built his empire off the course because of his play on the course. So it's important for them to do that. Certainly enough people out in Arizona. And Arizona, South Florida is a big golf area. A lot of retirees. I was up at the Orlando at Reunion. That's they got a nice course. I think that's Annika Sorenstam has a school up there. Am I mistaken that was something in Reunion?
Yeah, no, she used to have an academy there.
Yeah.
It's no longer there, but Reunion was where we were going to host our golf school that got canceled. So know the resort very well. It's a great property. I looked at Annika's academy right when it was being built. I like to go out and play Secret Shopper back when I was with Nicholas to see what others are doing, and maybe I've missed on an idea. So I went and looked at that. And then years later, after she was getting out of the instruction world, we went and took a look at that property also to maybe deploy as a Nicholas Academy, but that negotiations never happened.
Do you have a goal to have a property that is like a home base course for this and future? I mean, what's on the roadmap? Obviously, you got to get going, but what are things you'd love to see as you advance and grow?
Well, we've got my founder director of instruction. He just relocated from California down to Texas. He's outside of Dallas. And it appears that he's at a golf course privately owned, but open to the public. And it sounds like he's getting more and more support from them to, if you will, kind of allow us to have a green grass headquarters for Patriot Golf School. So there's a lot of Patriots down there in Texas.
Oh yeah,
and a fair amount of money. And so Seth is working to try and put all the pieces together to then basically be able to say home of the Patriot Golf School. So we're going to continue to go out and share this across the country.
Do you have statistics on where these veterans are based out of? Is it the big cities have more veterans and the small areas have, or is there somewhere that has an unusually high rate of veterans?
It's you can find that information. For instance, if you look at where the big VA campuses are, the big VA campus means there's a lot of veterans in that particular marketplace. You look at where the bases are. A lot of veterans choose not to. They become accustomed to living in that particular area. So up and down the East Coast, the Carolinas, Virginia, Florida, Texas, Southern California. You've got a tremendous amount of veterans. Here in Arizona, you've got a lot. But we could go to Michigan and probably find 100,000 veterans without a problem. There's a lot of service people out there.
Yeah, and is there any way to get more than 6? What's the limitations of the 6 participants towards a day? Is it just money? Is it space, time?
Well, so again, we want to create an experience. So from a budgetary standpoint, we're working on a 4-to-1 ratio. So that would be 3 sponsors and 1 veteran. If we had no commitment there whatsoever, but say Coca-Cola, we love this. We'd like to have sponsor a 3-day golf school, and we want 3 veterans in every foursome. Great. Again, it all comes down to numbers. Being able to have enough revenue that then you can include the veteran, at no cost, and still at the end of the event, figure out your budget and say, okay, great. Now we can give Folds of Honor a check for $30,000 from this 3-day golf school we host. That would be a nice boost to those foundations. So we want to give back as much as we possibly can, but again, you have to make the experience match up with the market you're in.
Right, and you want it to be intimate and be special rather than just gathering 50 people and having chaos on the golf course.
That would be less memorable.
Yeah. Or, I mean, it might be as memorable, but maybe not for the right reasons.
Yeah, exactly.
Happen. You told me a little bit about expanding into different sports. Why don't you tell everyone what you guys are working on outside of the Patriot Golf Foundation?
Yeah, so back in '92, I formed my own marketing company, Synergy Group Marketing, and that was all based on sports and resorts. And we started building out from there. I shouldn't say I got sidetracked, but I then curtailed much of those efforts and put it all behind the academy business. My partners with Nicholas decided that now was a good time to do a real estate development in Idaho. And I was brought on board to develop the Nicholas Academy brand. But then they also decided we would do a Mark Spitz Swim Academy, a Jim Courier Tennis Academy. We did a soccer academy with Mia Hamm, Brandy Chastain, and Julie Foudy right after they'd won the World Cup. So we had 4 world-class brands, actually 4, 5, 6 world-class brands in one community. And everything was based on you buy into this master plan community, and you have access to golf, you have access to swim, access to tennis, access to soccer, access to fitness, and it's supported by the HOA fees. So every other week, you could go take a good golf lesson for free, or your wife could go be in Pilates while your children are in swimming or in tennis. And so it was really a very active, healthy concept that was all based on differentiating a real estate project from the next planned community down the road.
What do those HOA fees look like? Because when we were looking for housing, I kept looking at these houses. They were great deals, and my wife kept saying, "That's a golf community. You got to pay, $80,000 a year to be a member of it." So, what's a rough idea on what it would cost?
Yeah, no. So we've got a whole formula based on the number of rooftops, the number of academies, the number of potential member residents, if you will, and what exactly those services look like. So, we were building out it was the largest master plan community ever in Idaho. Unfortunately, that was in 07, 08. There was a little financial crisis right about then.
Yeah.
So that project never got fully built out, but at the same time, I was working on Nicholas Academy in Mexico, in Merida, in the Yucatan, and they were putting in tennis, swim, soccer, fitness, and so I went and then overlaid this model on top of what they were all already doing. So we bring our expertise in with facilities, designing the facilities to match with the population, come up with the instructors that are then going to work it, and then integrate that curriculum into the community so that there's a complete schedule that when your free instruction is available to sign up, that you can then take advantage of that. And the beauty of that is, my sons were good golfers and soccer players, but never really swam. They could swim, they were going to drown, but they never swam. But in a community like this, now they can go take swim lessons, and you never know. You may find out that you're a better swimmer than you are a golfer. So the idea is to develop, well-rounded, young people, young adults, but also, provide that family atmosphere to where I could be out hitting balls with my son, or we could be going to hitting tennis balls together. Those type of those type of experiences, but all planned out.
So do you have an area in mind now to get back to this and expand, or?
Well, I got contacted by a gentleman out of Oklahoma that knew me from my Nicholas days, and he was working on a potential project outside of Dallas. And so we were working to incorporate this into that master plan. So that's kind of was the genesis of putting together Synergy Group Consulting. Is I had done all of these, we continued to promote the concept, but with the 0708 master plan community developments kind of waned, if you will, and I was spending the bulk of my energy over in Asia developing Jack's Academy brand.
Yeah.
So once I got, somebody reached back out to me and said, "Hey, are you still doing that?" I went, "Yes, I am. Nobody just knows it." So put together Synergy Group Consulting as a, if you will, an arm of my marketing entity, and we're just starting to reach out to architects and land planners and developers now to reintroduce this concept to them.
In Texas or anywhere, really?
Yeah, anywhere.
Anywhere.
Yeah, so certainly it lends itself more to the southern tier because it's you can participate year round.
Yeah. How much land do you need for something like that?
It's depends on we originally were going to do an 18-hole golf course, and the founding fathers up there decided they didn't want to have that gated community feel, so we turned that into a 3-hole training course plus double-ended driving range, indoor-outdoor courts, 2.5 full-size soccer pitches, and then a big swimming complex fitness center. And we encompassed about, we were around 30 acres for that particular complex. And so again, you go into a particular market and for instance, Texas, they were talking about baseball. Okay.
Yeah.
To me, baseball requires a lot of land that is not going to get used all the time. Where a soccer pitch, you can play lacrosse on, you can play up-team number configurations of soccer fields based on age groups. So I look at land utilization as far as how do you monetize the amenity. So you may live in a master plan community in Florida, and it's got a pool, it's got a couple of tennis courts, maybe it's got some other amenity, but is there anything that compels you to go do that? Right.
Are the athletes going to be involved in this program? The same athletes, new athletes?
It depends. Again, depends on the development. In some cases, the development needs a brand, if you will. It needs an athlete. In some cases, the development is strong enough on its own, and the concept is strong enough on its own that you just need to overlay this concept into it. And basically save the branding fees.
Right. Yeah, well,
some of these athletes can be a little expensive.
No, everything is cheaper when you don't have to pay someone to use their name on it. That's for sure. But there's value to having their name on it, and excitement about having the right person attached to the project. We have down here Chris Everett is she's got a big event every year that she throws. So South Florida, we got our share of professional. A little bit further north, like Jupiter, where Tiger's at, but and they're all moving into that area. Do you have someone that you'd love to? I mean, do you have like a dream athlete that you'd love to work with on some of these ideas that you have, or anyone you have in mind, a target, a dream?
No, I try not to get ahead of myself because then you get disappointed.
Right.
Yeah, I'd love to do a golf academy at Tiger, and then bam, get shot down overnight. Roger Federer in tennis. I mean, it'd be a dream to do something with Roger Federer.
Yeah.
Because he's such a. I mean, I just love watching him play tennis. How graceful he is and how diplomatic he is. I mean, he's a true gentleman of the sport. So that's when we were putting the academy together. When you're leading with Mr. Nicholas, all the others that are going to be associated need to be, not to use a pun, but on par with Jack.
Yeah.
Right. So you can't have a popular athlete that maybe has a bad past or some issues, because all the brands then become one brand. So it becomes you have to be very selective when you start picking up athletes to, if you will, to work together from a branding perspective. I had never met Mark Spitz in my life. The first time I met him, I'm going, okay, different dude. But once you get to know Mark and his history and where he came from, I mean, he's one of the most dynamic public speakers I've ever listened to in my life.
Really?
I mean, he can motivate freaking anybody. But the first time you meet him, you're not going to pick that up.
Right. These days, it's a lot more scrutiny too. If you didn't hear about it back in the day, then nobody would know. Now they're searching for it. They're going back to your Twitter account 10 years ago. We should always be careful about what we put out there in the world, and as far as writing and on video. Just a crazy story about this college quarterback who had to apologize for eating sushi off a naked model. Did you read about that on some reality?
I think it was UNLV quarterback.
Yeah, Max something or other. I forget. It seems crazy to me. I don't know. I mean, I'm a college kid. I was on vacation. I got filmed. I don't know if there's anything to apologize for. I'm assuming it was consensual and set up, but that's the world we live in, and so it's tough as an athlete. That you can make one wrong statement, and they can find something else, and everyone's going to leave you right there. When you're hot, and when you're cold, they stay as far away as they can from you.
Yep.
So we're running out of time here. We wanted to ask you a few fun questions, but as I told you, my twin brother, a huge skier, his whole family, and you started with Rosengale skis. Do you have what did you like about skiing? What was it about skiing, or is it just, hey, this was a job I got, and are you still involved in skiing at all?
Well, I started out a baseball player. I went to work in a ski and sporting goods store in Salt Lake City, Utah, and I was skiing, but I got more and more into skiing, and my goal was to become a ski rep. I thought that was the end all, was to do that. So I got very, very deep into skiing. Then had two boys. You can see them in the background there. Raised two alpine ski racers. Was very involved in the Park City Ski Education Foundation and the Park City Ski Team, and so I just got immersed into the skiing world. I've spent more time on the side of a ski hill in ski boots than I have on a golf course. But the freedom of skiing, even if you're with a group, but I mean, when you're skiing, it's almost like golf to a certain extent. I mean, it's just you and your space. But when you're skiing down the hill, assuming it's not overly crowded, I mean, it's just you and your own headspace. I mean, you can turn it off as much, you can fire it up as much. I love skiing alone. I think it's just very cleansing. But I still like to ski. My boys are in Utah and Idaho. One is actually at a ski resort, so I've got access to go skiing if I decide to leave the desert.
Do they still ski or do they snowboard? I know a lot of times they transfer over to.
Yeah, my oldest one has to snowboard because his wife does.
Yeah.
But no, we're skiers. We got 2 feet.
Is there a favorite place to ski that you've ever skied, or a place you've never been that you'd love to go?
I mean, I would say the most spectacular is when you get a chance to go helicopter skiing.
Helicopter skiing. I don't know.
And the helicopter just perches you on the top of a peak, and it's nothing but free powder below you. I mean, that's a pretty special time. The helicopter ride, quite honestly, is worth the price of admission. The skiing is unbelievable. You'll never forget that. But watching these military veterans fly these helicopters in the Wasatch Mountains in Utah and maneuver them with the wind, and put one skid on a rock, and then you're climbing out of this helicopter on the other side, and watching them take off. And sometimes if you're on a particular ship and you've got a newbie skiing with you, they'll wait till they're sitting with their back to the front of the ship, and they'll just go just go flying right down the mountain, and you just watch people's eyes go. "Roar." But helicopter skiing, I think, is maybe the ultimate that anybody that skis would appreciate.
Yeah, we did a lot more water skiing growing up when we were in camps than skiing. But my brother and his family, they love it. They're all good. Started when they're 2, which is what you got to do. Because I went skiing about 10 years ago. I'm terrified of it. Even though I used to ski when I was much younger. We'll give you a few rapid fire questions here, and then we'll let you tell everyone how they can get in touch with you and how they can help. Do you have a bucket list for sporting events or vacations that you haven't been to yet?
Sporting events. Really, what I want to do is, before I get too much older, is I've got a couple of bucket lists. I want to go helicopter skiing with my 2 boys.
Okay.
And then I want to do a trip to Pebble.
Okay.
And do that. And then they try and coordinate either a San Francisco Giants game or a San Francisco 49ers game into that same trip.
Okay.
That's on the bucket list.
You been to the new stadium?
I have not, no.
Yeah,
So
I hear it's nice, but now I hear these new ones like SoFi and Allegiant are, it's crazy. A few years later, and now it's the technology and all the offerings are even that much better than something that just opened a few years ago. Like, it's obsolete already. Not really, but it's
okay, they're 5 years old, yeah.
Yeah, 5 years. 5 years. How about movies? Favorite movies? Do you have a favorite golf movie? A favorite movie?
I got a unique brain where I can watch a movie and the next day I forgot what I watched.
A lot of people have.
Yeah, but if you go back to you go back to Gil Sears and Brian Piccolo.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one that stands out. I mean, that's just a classic of all time. Caddyshack, you can't go wrong with Caddyshack.
Go wrong with. I actually like Caddyshack too. I know it's obviously not as good, but a lot of Caddyshack purists hate Caddyshack too. I think they're both funny. Obviously, the first one is much better, but
and I grew up a huge Pink Panther fan.
Yeah, Pink Panther.
I used to watch like 5 in a row. So,
all right, a favorite food, like if you had to eat one food the rest of your life for 1 year, not the rest of your life, 1 year, and that's all you can eat. Do you have anything you could go for, or you think you wouldn't be able to make it?
Ooh, I would have to go with plain grilled sea bass from Deer Valley, Utah.
Okay. One famous person living that you can spend a full day with and do whatever you want. Who is it, and what are you guys doing? Besides obviously talking and picking their brain, what is there an activity you'd like to do with them?
Huh. Wow, that's a tough one. One famous person. No, I'm just trying to. I'm not a huge politician, so I'm not kind of going down that path. I would think. I'd say probably if I could spend a day with Roger Federer.
Federer, you gonna play tennis with him?
I just play a lot of tennis, and have a one-hand backhand. So I appreciate the fact that he's still keeping that alive out there. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think I would love to be able to spend a day with him and just just hang out and get to understand him a little bit more. Hopefully get a chance to watch a training session and just really appreciate how he moves on the court.
Have you ever? So people aren't always what they see. You don't need to give names or anything, but have you ever met someone famous or a famous athlete who you met him and then you're like, he's not who I thought he was in like a really bad way, or the converse, like you've heard such bad things about him and you meet him, like everyone says Bill Belichick, Nick Saban, you get around them, they're very funny and gracious. And same with Greg Popovich, but that's not what we see on TV. Is there anyone that sticks out? You don't have to name names, but have you been around that? Is someone been really disappointing, or someone who's been really like, oh wow, that's
yeah. I think you can go both ways.
Yeah.
You can go both ways because you have a perception going in, right?
Yeah.
And the more famous they are, depending on what you're doing and your stage of your career, maybe the more nervous you are, which comes across to them as well. And some just eat you alive if you don't go in and give them that firm handshake and look them dead in the eye. I mean, they won't touch you again.
All eyes on me.
Alberto Tombo was one that from my skiing days that I was in the video production business, and I did a project for a company, and we had the opportunity to interview Alberto, and he was so-so. And then at the tail end of his career, we did some fundraising events in Utah for our ski program, and it was with Lexus. And he came back to Deer Valley 3 times each year, and he was the most gracious, kind, generous person you'd ever meet.
Great. Last question: if you weren't doing this, what would you be doing? Dream job, something you grew up saying, I thought I was going to be a firefighter or astronaut or whatever.
If I wasn't doing this now, I would probably be just jumping on a plane like I used to do and traveling wherever I wanted to go. I love travel. I've been going through withdrawal for a year. So I don't, I mean, it's a sad thing to say. I missed a 12.5 hour flight from San Francisco to Hong Kong.
I'd get on a 12-hour flight in a second. I don't mind those long flights because what's going on at the other end when you get there, it's all worth it. Same with a long drive in the car. I don't mind that either.
Yep. There's always somebody new at the end of that trip.
Yeah. Well, soon we'll get there soon. I don't know what soon means, but I think we'll be there sooner than later. Hopefully, I appreciate you coming on today. Let everyone know how they can get in touch with you, how they can help the Patriot Golf Foundation when they start to get some events going next year. Just how people can get in touch.
Yeah, so obviously you've got the website scrolling down there. We'll start posting our 2021 tentative schedule here within the next few weeks as we start to lay that out, and as we get clearance to be able to host those events. But we can take support at any point, anytime. We just had Giving Tuesday, and we're not too successful, but okay successful with that. So
everyone's asking on the same day.
I mean, anybody at any time can donate to the foundation. If you happen to be at a golf club or involved in a men's association, I think this would be a great opportunity for you. We'd love to have a chance to have a conversation, see how we can work together. Again, it's all about the network, helping the veterans and their families, really sharing the great game of golf, and helping out these people that have sacrificed their livelihoods for our freedom.
Great. Well, I appreciate you coming on, Ted Simons, Synergy Consulting, and the Patriot Golf Foundation. Check them out at the patriotgolffoundation.com. Also, you can follow them on Facebook, and I think you could also follow them or reach them on LinkedIn.
Yes.
As well. And we look forward to seeing what you guys can come up with next year. Hopefully some good events. Anything going on with the veterans is a good. Obviously, we had Pearl Harbor Day yesterday, and always great to see veterans living a better life and getting the help that they need and deserve. Until next time, follow us on LinkedIn, Ticket Time Machine, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We'll see you guys soon. Thanks again.
All right. Thanks, Matt.